Hello, my name is J.H. Lee, and this title of the video is What is ADD, ADHD, and what are the solutions? So first question is, what is ADD, ADHD stands for? It is attention deficit disorder or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So it refers to difficulties of paying attention. Now, what is the problem? We do not have a solution for ADD, ADHD currently as a 21st century. None. Why? Because ability to attend is an acquired skill, not given by instinct or growing up. Because we can gain as we growing up, but that is just a without method, and it will be processing is very, very slow and perhaps very delayed to developing that skill. And another one is medication is not a solution because it can gain this attention skill through it. There's no such a magic medication like that. What is a medication they use for? You do not want a disruption in class because each school teacher have a lesson plan every day and they must complete their task each day. But if they have too much interruption, then they'll have a difficult time to doing that. Not only it is bothering other students, and perhaps it's a problem with their job. So also a problem is we know too little about attention. It is a historical problem throughout especially Western hemisphere, and they didn't pay attention on this concept. They pay attention most on thinking because it is obvious one of the most powerful human potential as an intellect. However, because of this reason, what we have been doing is all along guessing work. That's why we get a very little result. So what we really need is engineering work. We must approach it systematically so we can get a result every single time. I would like to offer you one of the testimonials from the parents. He see difference in 1 week. I'll put that a testimonial link in the bottom of this video. So what is the solutions are? First, we must understand entire concept of attention. Then we can able to put work into increase ability to attention for your child or your student, every individual. Because it required personal guidance, no other. Because it is learned quality, and we need to learn how to cope with the ADD, ADHD problem. To understand entire concept of attention, we need to ask the following 4 questions. 1, what is attention? So we need understanding of each definition. Number 2, why do we need it? It's a purpose and the usage of it. Then number 3, how to gain it? Methods and processing dynamic. And last question is a not easy question, difficult question rather. It's how to measure it. Without it, we cannot able to control the process. So let's ask the first question, definition of what is attention. In order to understand this, I need to ask, what are synonyms of other word? Attention. There's 2 other words there most commonly people use. Is a focus and the concentration. So following question is, what is attention and focus and concentration? Attention word come from attend, which means being present. Another word, participate or engage in activity or interest. Then what is a focus? Focus means middle of, center of activity or interest. Then what about concentration? This word is a compound word. Consists of con plus center plus suffix ate. Con means together. Center means middle, just like a focus. A suffix ate means causing. Another word, things put it together in center, then it become connecting together, it fusion and bring another knowledge or meaning. So in order to define what is exactly attention, we need to have three presuppositions. Of course, it must be start with life, especially human life. Then another presuppositions are what is learning and what is thinking. So let's start each one of them one at a time. Universe is formed within two axes, space and time. Everything's in these two axes. Within these two axes, there are two categories. One's inanimate and the other one's animate, which means no life, life. However, these lives, all those lived one, has classes. There's classes of life and three classes. First one is chemical binding, which means trees or plants. The other one is space binding, which is all the living creature able to move around. Nothing like trees and plants, which is in the ground. The other one is only human. It's their time binding. And this exact concept comes from a book called Manhood of Humanity, written by Alfred Korzybski in chapter 3. Well then, what is a time binding means? Here's another book called The Sacred Pulse of Time, written by Stephen Klein, and I want to read a few parts of this book. The perception of time is a highly sophisticated faculty of the mind that engages nearly all function of the brain, encompassing physical sensation, sense perception, memory, the ability to craft a plan for the future, emotions, and self-awareness. If even one of these mechanisms is incapacitated, our ability to gauge time gets distorted or even lost. That's right. Only human has enough intelligent and many other function, many other faculty and potential, and the other one can binding the time and dealing with the time. There's another quotation I'd like to read that for you. The time we read on clocks represent only a tiny segment of what we experience as a time in our lives. The second hand, which is the needle, deals only with the present. It does not register the past and the future, whereas people also live in their recollection, which are in sense, time frozen in their memory. That's right. Thus we are. What mechanism transformed the time we have experienced into memory? What a great question. How is it that people can travel back into the past in their mind, even future? That's time binding. That is how we become our own self. So, purpose of each classes of life, let's talk about that, is a chemical binding is base of the food chain, which means every live things, they need food, nourishment to continuously live through it. Only way to be food, it has to be organic. That's right. Only life can feed the life, but chemical binding, those are trees and plants are a base of the food chain to the every lives there is, the other one only can make from a chemical, mineral, to a organic food. Now then, what about space binding? Their principles are survival of a fittest. Of course, their most interests are survival, and that's the only they can do, which is their instinctive. Yet, what is their purpose? Not only survival, they are only food for the higher order and higher class. And it's a chain of a life. However, we still confuse about purpose of a human time binding. Why? First, of course we need to survive. But our needs cannot stop after that, because human only can make the meaning. Because we are time binding, we are aware of the time. No other species, they can able to aware of the time and dealing of the time. Therefore, they cannot make the meaning. Only humans searching for the meaning of their life. And yes, we need the survival first. Yet, if we stay at that level, we downgrade ourselves to the animal kingdom or kingdom of the safari. We are living in the human society, human life. We must accomplish becoming and able to find the meaning. So here is another quotation from that book. Past experience form our personality. We are a virtual compendium of time. That's right. Humans only can dealing with the time. So human life is becoming. Become an individual as an entity. In category of a time, past, I was. Present, I am. Future tense, I become. That is definition and presupposition of the human life. Now let's moving into the second presupposition. What is learning? Of course, this is another big title. Let's not get too complicated. I want to only talk about each processing. There's three different layer of processing. Number one is get information. Number two is understanding the information. Third one is connecting information to information that become knowledge and that become profession, which has a discipline, branch of knowledge. Well then, what is a thinking? That is a third presupposition. It is all the human activity comes from what each person internalize in their mind or thinking first. Then they can externalize in their life. So what is internalized and externalized means? Internalized means as an idea or concept or knowledge, theory, procedure, a quality, you name it, many things that you put it in our mind. Then we have ability to externalize. Without those new concepts we put it in our mind, there's no difference we can make in our life. That's right. Let me elaborate a little bit about what is that means a concept. One of the good example is credit, which means when I was younger living in Korea, it's right after war, our social structures, every part is destroyed. Therefore, if any person want to buy the house, it has to pay the full. Otherwise, there's no transaction going to be there. How about in America? Can't they do that? How many people will able to buy full price paying the house? Very few. So what that concept of the credit and modern society, especially well-developed country, made is You are young, you have a good job, paying job, and you perhaps are married and your life is stabilized. You have a future value. Therefore, we're going to give this a power of purchase within term. Think about it. Without that credit concept, how our economy size is going to be? Very little. With the concept of the credit, how enormous of a size of economy grow in modern economy. It is an amazing concept. Yet, in order to make this concept to be made, there is a lot of prerequisite condition, such as trust in the society, such as also respect for personal property, and no one can plunder other people's property. There must be law and order should be in effect in that society. Otherwise, this concept of the credit cannot made. And that's where a human engineer concept also comes, such as how much potential and how much possibility each human being possesses. Literally unlimited. Well then, isn't it the most wasteful things we do that we never developed our full potential? Yes, we're getting very, very small percentage of our potential and our possibility. Reason is, missing part is human engineering. That engineering ability, we don't have that. That concept has been made yet. And that's where my works. So all the inventions of the human history, all the milestone is making new concept. That's what the thinking is. Once we have that, then externalize means human race can live it in their life. How amazing is that? That is world of thinking. So here, William James, he wrote the book, The Principle of Psychology. Chapter 11 is attention. He said this, my experience is what I agree to attend to. Wow! First time when I read this statement, I was dropping my mouth. How amazing statement is this? Only those items which I notice shape my mind. Without selective interest, experience is an utter chaos. That's right. Everyone's experience isn't given by the nature. No. Rather, created it. Each one's choice through ability to attend. That is attention. That's what we have a problem, ADD, ADHD. And this is a not given ability. We must develop that. So conclusion is this. The world will be there as it is, without meaning. But the meaningful world to us is under what relationship we have made from it. And that make the connection comes from ability to attend. That with ability to attend, we are forming ourselves each moment, every single day. Not only gaining more knowledge as well as our own character building. Therefore, human beings are becoming. These connections have three different dimension or level, which is fit into the physical need, mental need, and spiritual need. First level of the connection will be knowledge for a vocation. Yes, we must accomplish the first, a survival, able to bring the income, we bring the food on the table, and pay the bill. Yet, that's only working machine, money-making machine. Second level of a connection will be memory, which include character building or personality. And this is the part that we're missing. Large number populations unhappy with the modern education system. Why is that? Of course, there's too many topics to discuss. Yet, I don't call their education department. I rather now name them as schooling department. Why? Because they only teach them to have a good job. They do not want to admit it, or even they do it, very little of it, and how to build an individual. They don't do that any longer. That burden all up to each parent. Problem is, how many parents has ability to teach those becoming an individual area? That engineering ability, most parents cannot have that. It is too much to ask them. Somebody need to come up with that item. That's me. The third level of a connection will be spirituality, which means self-transcendence. Through this faculty of attention, human can gain all three dimensions of the knowledge. So this faculty and this power is highly undervalued throughout the human history, especially in Western historical philosophy field. They focus on ability to reason the most. Yes, it is understandable. Thinking ability, reasoning ability is one of the very special power of the human possess. Yet, faculty of attention is a base function of all the human possibility and potential. Without it, human cannot think and cannot learn, cannot perform accurately, simply cannot function as a human. How about that? However, we have a big challenge that lies ahead of us. William James also said this, and the faculty of voluntary bringing back a wandering attention over and over again is the very root of judgment, character, and the will. Judgment, character, and will. These are three functions of the human mind. So we're going to talk about some other time. No one is compos sui if we have enough. Compos sui is a Latin word for master of oneself. That's right. Without this ability to attention, no one can be master himself. In other words, we cannot develop our potential possibility we have as unlimited. Therefore, an education which should improve this faculty would be the education par excellence. That's right. Education means develop the disability. Without developing disability, they cannot call or claim as education. Why? Just memorizing the information and pass the testing, that isn't purpose of education. Real purpose of education is developing this ability to every individual. But it is easier to define this ideal than to give a practical direction for bringing it about. Oh, wow. William James is an amazing scholar. More I learn about him, more I read his book, it just how amazing he is. I have such respect for him. Yet, great scholar as he can define what is attention. Yet, or he doesn't have solution or answers for how to develop it because it is very, very complex. Yet, that concept should be available as of a 21st century now. Because of my lifelong study through the martial art that now I have done, I can produce results systematically with every time, every person. Here's a proof from a few parents. I'll put links, testimonial links under this post. And this is my contact information. Please contact me if you want to have this problem solved. And I can again bring the result for you day one, and systematically every single time. Thank you. I look forward to bring you another post following.